Have you ever felt stuck, like you're waiting for something to change, for someone to help you, for your breakthrough to finally come? What if I told you there was a man who waited by a pool for 38 years, making the same excuse every single day until one question changed everything? Welcome back to Awakened Minds. I'm Pamela Uzodima, and today we're diving into one of the most overlooked yet powerful encounters in the Bible. This isn't just an ancient story. This is about you, about me, about the invincible prisons we build with our own words, and the radical moment when Jesus confronts our excuses. By the end of this video, you understand why Jesus didn't give this man what he asked for, why that matters for your life right now, and what happened after his healing that most people never talk about. So today, stay with me until the end because the twist in this story will shake you. Let's get into it. The story unfolds in John chapter 5 at a pool called the Pool of Bethesda in Jerusalem. Picture this: 5 covered porches surrounding a pool, and under those porches, a multitude of sick people, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed, all waiting. The belief was that an angel would stir the water at certain times, and whoever got in first would be healed. It was a place of desperate hope and crushing competition. Everyone waiting for their miracle, but only one person could receive it at each time. And among this crowd of the suffering, there was one man who had been there longer than anyone else. 38 years. Let that sink in. 38 years of watching others get healed while he remained the same. That 8 years of disappointment. That 8 years of waiting. To put this in perspective, 38 years is longer than many of us have been alive. It's an entire generation. This man had been sick longer than he'd been well. His identity had become his infirmity. But here's what grabs me. Jesus didn't randomly stumble upon this pool. John 5 verse 6 says, Jesus knew that he had been in that condition for a long time. Jesus sought him out. Jesus knew his story. And what Jesus does next is so counterintuitive, is brilliant. Jesus walks up to this man and asks him one simple question: do you want to be healed? Do you want to be made whole? Now, on the surface, this seems almost insulting, doesn't it? The man is lying by a healing pool. Of course he wants to be healed. But Jesus never asks pointless questions. This question was surgical. It was designed to expose something deeper. And watch the man's response carefully in John 5 verse 7. He doesn't say yes. He doesn't say, absolutely, Lord, please heal me. Instead, he says, Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. Did you catch that? Jesus asked, do you want to be healed? And the man responded with an excuse. This is the profound insight we cannot miss. The man had become more comfortable with the excuse than committed to his healing. For 38 years, this has been his narrative. I have no man. It explained why he was still sick. It justified his condition. It gave him something to say when people asked why he hadn't been healed yet. His excuse has become his identity. And here's the uncomfortable truth for us today. How many of us are lying by our own pools, waiting for the perfect circumstances, the perfect helper, the perfect moment, while Jesus is standing right there asking, do you actually want to be made whole? We say we want the breakthrough, but we're holding on to the excuse. We say we want freedom, but we're familiar with the bondage. We say we want change, but rehearsed our reasons for staying the same so many times that they've become our truth. Jesus' question pierces through all of that. Do you want to be healed, or do you want to keep explaining why you are not? Now here's where it gets powerful. Jesus doesn't address the excuse. He doesn't argue with the man. He doesn't say, well, let me be your helper. He doesn't validate the 38-year narrative. Instead, Jesus speaks directly to the man's will and his body. John 5:8-9 says, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." And immediately the man was made well, picking up his mat and walked. Notice what Jesus did. He didn't give the man what he thought he needed, someone to put him in the pool. He gave him what he actually needed, the power to get up himself. This is crucial. The man was waiting for a system, a method, a helper. Jesus said, you don't need the pool. You don't need someone else. You need me, and you need to obey. The healing didn't come through the water. It came through the word, get up. That's it. 2 words that demolished 38 years of limitation. And I believe this is exactly what Jesus is saying to someone watching this right now. You've been waiting by the wrong pool. You've been looking for the wrong solution. You've been hoping someone else will do for you what only obedience to God's word can accomplish. The power isn't in the perfect circumstances. The power is in your willingness to obey when Jesus says, get up. But the story doesn't end with the miracle. In fact, what happens next reveals why many people miss their breakthrough altogether. The man is healed, and he's walking around carrying his mat on the Sabbath. The religious leaders immediately confront him because carrying a mat was considered work, which was forbidden on the Sabbath. When they ask who healed him, the man says in John 5:13, I don't know who it was. Think about that. The man was healed, but he didn't even know who Jesus was. He received the miracle, but missed the Messiah. Later, Jesus finds him in the temple and says something shocking in John 5:14. See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you. Wait, something worse than 38 years of paralysis. What could be worse? Here's the revelation. Physical bondage is temporary. Spiritual bondage is eternal. Jesus was warning him that going back to his old life, his old patterns, his old sins would lead to something far worse than never walking again. This tells us that the man's condition wasn't just physical. There was something in his life, some sin, some pattern that had contributed to his state. And Jesus was making it clear. The miracle is an opportunity for transformation, not just relief. How many of us ask God to change our circumstances but refuse to change our character? We want the blessing, but we don't want to address the behavior. We want the healing, but we don't want the holiness. Jesus is saying, I've given you a new beginning. Now live a new life. Don't go back to what put you there in the first place. And here's where the story takes its final turn. After Jesus warns him, the man goes back to the Jewish leaders and tells them it was Jesus who healed him. Some scholars believe he reported Jesus, essentially throwing him under the bus to get himself out of trouble. Whether that's true or not, the text shows us a man who encountered Jesus but never truly surrendered to him. So what do we take from this? 3 powerful truths. First, your excuse might be your prison. The man's excuse, I have no one, kept him trapped for 38 years. What excuse are you rehearsing? What narrative have you built around why you can't move forward? Jesus is asking you today, do you want to be healed or do you want to keep your story? Second, miracles require obedience. The man had to get up. He had to pick up his mat. He had to walk. Faith without action is dead. God will give you the power, but you have to take the step. What has God told you to do that you're still waiting for the perfect moment to obey? Third, healing is an invitation to transformation. Jesus didn't just heal the man's body and walk away. He followed up. He warned him. He called him to a new life. Your breakthrough isn't just about you being comfortable. It's about you being changed. It's about you becoming who God called you to be. The question is, will you be like the man who got the miracle but missed the message? Or will you encounter Jesus and be transformed? Awakened minds. Jesus is standing at your pool right now, asking you the question, do you want to be made whole? Not just healed, but whole. Not just relieved, but transformed. Drop your excuse. Pick up your mat and walk into the new life He's calling you to. If this blessed you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe because we're waking up to the truth of God's word every single week. I'm Pamela Uzodinma, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay awakened.